and just the light turning on, it was like I felt like somebody hit me over the head. It physically hurt. It brought this response, and it was like my reaction to what felt like physical pain. Hi.
Hey friends, welcome back to the Two Thumbs Up podcast. Dr. Todd here, Dr. Joy.
Oh, Dr. Joy.
How about that?
I'll take it.
Just wanted to highlight an article that we've come across recently. It's out of it's a publication called Slate, and this was published March 17th of 2024, and it's entitled "How We Got Concussions So Wrong." And it sort of highlights the history of concussion and you know what athletes have been told about concussion previously, you know, as well as anybody that's had a head injury. So I wanted to kind of dive into this a little bit and talk about some of the things that the medical community has missed, and then some of the things that we now know. How's that sound?
Good news.
First of all, how are you? What's new?
Good. I'm really good.
Yeah.
Excited for the sunshine. Ready for summer. Summer is my favorite.
I'm ready too. I just got back from Oregon. Spent some time with my mama. Doing,
nice and green.
Nice and green. Lots of farm work. It's good for the soul.
Yeah.
Makes me feel like a real man, you know, as opposed to normally. But yeah, things are good.
Good.
Yeah, clinic's good. Our concussion thing's growing.
Yep.
Right.
And our pain.
We just recently, just so everybody knows, we started a pain injection program with Dr. Zachary Jurgensen, and we have that going now.
Next open date is May 24th.
The 24th of May will be our next procedure day, so that's going well.
Yep.
And what else? What else we doing? We got like POW coming up. We got that. What else? Hey, Joy's birthday's this week, April 29th.
And yours, the 30th.
April 30th.
Yep. It's a big week.
There's lots of presents. No, but Joy is one day older than me.
Mm-hmm.
April 29th.
Yep.
I am April 30th. So, yeah, that's not true. You probably know that. So it's, yeah, there's a little bit of difference.
Just a couple years.
A couple years. So.
Fine.
She doesn't have to wear reading glasses yet. But anyway, back into Slate magazine, Slate publication here. How we got concussions so wrong. So how did we get concussions wrong?
Well, I think at the very beginning of it, doctors were told and taught, you go home and you close your blinds and you rest and no stimulation and you cocoon.
Yeah, I even remember them saying, well, don't let them fall asleep too. I remember way back in the day, you know, in high school, I'd get concussions and we were told not to
don't fall asleep.
They may not wake up or whatever. Then they're like, well, you need to go close yourself in a dark room, but don't sleep. Well, that's confusing.
Yeah, and then it changed.
And then that changed to something that they called cocooning, where you just lock yourself in a dark room and see if the symptoms go away.
Yep.
And based on what we now know, that didn't work.
No. And
patients got worse, right? Their symptoms were prolonged.
Well, because we're not meant to, like, that puts us in a state of atrophy. Mm-hmm. Like, our muscles are going to atrophy. Our brain is going to atrophy. Mm-hmm. We need constant stimulation as humans to push and grow. And with concussions, if you remove all sensory input, your brain's not going to know where to trigger to heal.
Yeah, it's just, and so it puts it sort of in a state of the inflammation continues. Mm-hmm. It's in a state of stasis where there's not any activity. So what we're finding now, as more and more research comes out about head trauma, is it is wise to actually rest for 24 hours, 48 hours.
48. Mm-hmm.
However, cocooning in a dark room for days on end actually prolongs the concussion symptoms.
Yeah, it makes them worse and lasts longer.
And in the article, they really highlight that. So they compiled some research, did some more research on patients that cocooned, as well as patients that started active brain rehabilitation post-concussion. And if you'd like, again, it's Slate Magazine, publication date March 17th. I encourage you to take a look at it. patients that got into active care recovered much quicker.
Yeah. But the active care, I think, to be clear on what active care looks like, is it's not this overwhelming thing. The key is to find, to push the patient that has the concussion just enough that it's stimulating, and that it's a continual, slow healing process that happens. It's not an overwhelming, like, let's put this all in 24 hours, you're going to do all this stuff. That's too overwhelming for the brain. It's tiny little movements, consistency, and
it's like, because you had a concussion.
Yes.
You went through all of this, and you still have issues, lingering problems from it.
I do.
From a motor vehicle accident.
Yes.
And so you went through our whole Concussion Pros program. And do you so you hit on something very, very wise here. So if we push a patient beyond that threshold point, what happens?
It's shut down. It's overwhelmed.
What happens to your symptoms?
It makes them all worse. It makes them huge.
Right. So Dr. Mike Williams, one of the founders of Concussion Pros, is a phenomenal doctor, person, great guy. He actually phrases it this way. He talks about taking a person up to the edge of the cliff of their symptoms, but not allowing them to go over the cliff. So, and it's that it's that continuous, over time, few weeks, of bringing them up to that edge, and the edge continues to get further and further away because the symptoms start to dissipate.
Right. So the method behind that is that you touch the symptoms. Once you start feeling the symptoms, you back off, but you're showing the brain where the healing needs to happen, right inside. So it's like you're like, here's where we need to heal here, and it's a light touch, so it's not overwhelming to the system. Otherwise, you're going to shut down. You're going to be like, no, I'm not going back there. That was horrible, because you're going to feel horrible.
And what we find there's so many symptoms associated with concussion.
Yeah.
Everything from headaches to dizziness to insomnia to increased sleep to
personality
changes, paranoia,
light sensitivity, noise sensitivity,
all those things.
There's so many.
We actually use a test called the Buffalo Treadmill Test, and what that does is we see people that have had a concussion that once their heart rate gets up to a certain level, immediately their concussion symptoms come on: dizziness, vertigo, nausea, all of these things.
Why does that happen?
What's happening there is the brain is shunting the blood away because
it's already overwhelmed.
Concussion is an inflammatory event, and so what's happening is if we get too much vascular flow up there, the brain says, "Stop. That's enough."
Yeah.
So in some athletes, or just not necessarily athletes, we put them on the treadmill and say, "Okay, we're going to get your heart rate up to 120, symptom free." We get them to 121, symptoms come back. Well, we're going to get them back there. We're going to keep working until the brain can acclimatize, so to speak, acclimatize to that volume of blood, and the symptoms start to dissipate.
Yeah.
And, we do balance training and vestibular training, ocular motor reflex training, and all of these cool things to allow the patient to get up.
The neural pathways to work again. Because essentially, when the concussion happens, your brain is like the consistency of Jell-O, and then you're in the fluid, the cerebral fluid, inside of the skull. So if the movement happens, it shakes your brain. Your brain reacts with chemicals because it's like, what just happened? And it's looking to heal. And if the brain is overwhelmed, in this article it says it's similar to a freeway. So here we have one major freeway, the I-15. If there's something that happens that the road needs construction, what do you do with the traffic?
It gets
rerouted. And that's what your brain's going to do when it's injured, is it gets overwhelmed and it's looking for a way through.
Looking for new pathways.
Yeah, so it's going to go around.
It will use new pathways because it's going to continue to function.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's so amazing about, well, there's so many things amazing about our nervous system, our bodies as a whole, but the brain will literally use other pathways to get the same things done.
Yeah.
Now, it takes a little bit of time.
Uh-huh.
It's like you get rerouted from the freeway. You got to go out through Harriman. And
then, be a little longer.
Pretty soon you're out in Wendover, and then you're out, and then you got to come back through Tooele to Saratoga or whatever. So it takes time.
Yeah, it does.
And one of the things that is also happening is it takes energy.
Uh-huh.
And so people that have had a brain injury are often very, very fatigued. And because rerouting that information traffic takes a lot of ATP.
Yes.
It takes a lot of cellular work. And so our job is to get the brain to relax, get the systems back online so that the free flow of information, that neuroplasticity starts to respond.
Uh-huh.
And you hit on something with the skull and the brain. The brain is like a gelatinous material, right? Jello, right? Essentially. Surrounded by that layer of cerebrospinal fluid. And what happens is that when it gets concussed, it actually distorts. We used to call it a brain bruise. It's not really even a bruise. It's as the skull impacts, it actually is like it changes forms for a moment, and it actually can also do a rotation or a shearing effect, and it damages all those neurons, and sometimes millions of them, right? And we got to get that back online.
Yeah.
Allow it's like any injury, really. We have to rehabilitate it. It's like a person that's got a rotator cuff tear that never does anything for rehabilitation. Well, it's going to continue to be there.
But that's easy for people to see. They miss the point in their brain. Yeah. A lot of my things I didn't realize were happening until somebody gave me feedback of how I was reacting or responding.
Yeah, so tell us about that. So I remember you got in a car accident, got rear-ended, and you had these other symptoms, neck and back and things, and you were getting therapy for those. But my experience was you had slow recall. Slower than normal.
If anything, like I couldn't recall words.
Yeah,
I know.
So
bless my heart.
Was it frustrating?
So frustrating, because I also didn't fully understand myself what was happening. I just felt different. I felt off. I figured it would get better, and with time, it seemed to get worse instead of better. And that's when because I'm still trying to live my life, being a mom and being a provider and being all the hats that we wear in life, that I was not showing up the way I used to. It was kind of like I was a shell of a person. My head was on a string all the way up in the clouds somewhere.
That's actually I can see that. Because
that's how it felt like. Feels.
So people that were close to you, they're like, well, Joy, there's something.
Yeah, they're like, woohoo.
But how long did it take to actually make the correlation? Months.
Yeah.
Months.
Sadly.
Sadly. And so that's the other thing we see, right? A person gets in an injury situation, work injury, motor vehicle, sports injury, and they may have neck pain and shoulder pain and back pain and all these different things, but they're also having headaches.
Right, but that's the last thing they're looking at. So down the road, then they're like, I'm still, like, everything else has healed, but I'm still seeing these symptoms. I'm still experiencing this overwhelm, this PTSD, this short fuse in anger. Short-term memory loss. Like, there's so much to it. And then that's when they're like, I need more therapy. Like, I need something.
I remember, we're just using it as an example here, but do you remember you started having to write everything down? Everything.
And reminders on my phone and alarms, and because I was missing everything.
Yeah. And you had some response from, like, your kids. What'd they say?
I was angry. You had
a short fuse.
I I was very sensitive to sound and light. So, for instance, I'm already feeling overwhelmed, and I go into my room, and kids find me, turn on the light, just the light turning on, it was like I felt like somebody hit me over the head. It physically hurt. It brought this response, and it was like my reaction to what felt like physical pain was turn it off. Like, what are you doing? And then kids play. Kids make noise. That's what they do. It felt so overwhelming to my system that my response was so abrupt, and that was not my personality before.
Yeah.
And that's just like one aspect of it.
Of the concussion.
Yeah.
And we see this across the board with our concussion patients. They have a variety of symptoms, and sometimes, and what we were talking about is, oftentimes everyone's so focused on their musculoskeletal injuries that practitioners, doctors, physicians they're seeing don't make the correlation to some of the other symptoms they're experiencing to the brain.
That's a great point. So let's say I go to the ER after my accident, and let's say the doctor does the test and is like, yeah, you do have a concussion. The only thing that people are told after that point, go home and rest.
Yeah.
So this article brings this up. This is what is highlighted in this, is that it's been missed across the board that doctors now have somewhere to send people, or there is a therapy to be had for these people.
Yes.
And if doctors are open to receiving new information, it's going to be life-changing for those who don't know. Those who come to a doctor, they're looking for answers, they're looking for help or assistance, and if that's missed, then the normal, mom or dad or whoever, they're missing the information that there's something to be done.
Right.
Which is why we're
ERs
talking
are great,
about this.
Like someone ends up in an emergency room, and those folks are amazing at doing CT scan, MRI, and finding, potentially finding something like a brain bleed, or there's bleeding on the brain. But however, we know that an MRI is not going to show a concussion.
No,
a CT scan is not going to show a concussion. And now our imaging capabilities are getting better. There is actually something called a DTI MRI but we can show changes to the brain. But that's actually down the road as the brain's already gone through some of that healing process. So early stage concussion is actually diagnosed through symptoms, right? People's symptomatology. And so with our Concussion Pros program, we run a variety of tests on patients to determine, different aspects of the concussion. However, a big determining factor is the symptoms they present with.
Yep.
And so it's sort of a misconception that you go and get an MRI, oh, your brain's fine. That's not necessarily true.
Because mine didn't show up until later.
Thank goodness you don't have a brain bleed or a subdural hematoma, something like that.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that you don't potentially have lasting symptoms associated with it, right? Is that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
we see it time and time and time again. So this article we love because it really sort of, just going to say it, it really talks about, it doesn't say their Concussion Pros program in here, but it actually outlines our Concussion Pros program. And it shows us that we're right on track when it comes to how to treat these concussions, how to evaluate them, how to get people back in the game, back in their life more effectively, and great outcomes.
It brings hope to people again.
Gosh. It's all about outcomes. It's all about giving hope to people. It's all about allowing them to get their lives back.
Yep.
Because we've had, literally, people's lives get upended.
Yeah. Oh,
and then they see doctor after doctor after doctor that never makes the correlation, because here's what can happen. Someone can get in an auto accident. But over time now, the patient actually has a sub-threshold of not knowing what they're feeling. People may see it, but there's no correlation between that injury event and what a patient, their depression, their anxiety.
Yeah.
It just showed up one day.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yep.
So that's why we're super passionate about what we do with Concussion Pros, is because we want to get these people under care early and get them back back doing their lives. And so another interesting thing this article hit is it talked about up to 24% of medical students don't even remember being taught anything about concussion in medical school. And so, which honestly, maybe they touched on it, but this new information that keeps coming out, the information wasn't there 10 years ago. The information wasn't there 5 years ago. There was more of that. The brain's always sort of been a mystery, right? And like I said, if it's a musculoskeletal thing, oh yeah, we can MRI that. We see where the tear is. We can fix that. We can do this. But with the brain, it's like, cross your fingers. Well, go home and rest and see how you do, and then go back and play next Friday night. Well, there's things called second impact syndrome, tertiary impact syndrome that we need to be conscious of. And but here's the great news: the brain does a phenomenal job, and the body as a whole does a phenomenal job of healing. And so, as we get these patients and these people back into our programs, into what we're doing, we get phenomenal results. And it's fun. It's exciting. We love it, don't we?
We do love it.
Yep. And what else? I think that pretty much covers this article. I'm trying to think of if we missed anything.
I don't know. I think the good news is there is an option. Like, this is another tool for you.
Yeah.
To use to assist in the healing process, because our brains and bodies are amazing. They are the ones doing the healing. This just kind of shows, like, yep, heal here, heal here, and it just makes it a little more direct.
Yes.
And an easier process.
And I guess the messaging is, if you've had a concussion, or someone's been in a concussion, don't ignore it. Don't ignore the symptoms. Maybe even look back. It's like, well, I've had some of these changes over the last 6 months or a year. Could it have been when I fell at the house? Could I, snowboarding or something like that as well? So just, do a sort of a self-inventory and say, because, like, for example, can we bring your sister up?
Yeah.
She'll care?
No, I don't think so.
So I'll let you talk about your sister, because she's telling you. So she recently, you don't have to tell her name. But
yeah, she recently got, she went out snowboarding. And
how long ago was that?
Just 2 weeks, I think.
Okay.
About 2 weeks ago, I don't think she had been out on the mountain for a while, but that doesn't matter. She caught an edge. She flipped backwards and smacked her head so hard. She actually ended up stopping at my house on her way home because she couldn't safely drive home. Like, she just was not herself. And so, we're talking about it, and I was like, give it 24, 48 hours, rest, give yourself that time to rest, because that is important. And then see how you feel. So then she reaches out and she's like, okay, these are my symptoms. And it was like a whole list of symptoms. Yeah. And I was like, okay. So, now she's
her under care.
Yep. She's coming to get treatment.
Now, okay, thank goodness she knows you, obviously your sister, and she knows we have this program.
Mm-hmm.
But she left the mountain, driving home, knows she has a concussion.
Yeah.
And she knows us, so she has the opportunity to come see us. Think about all the people that don't.
I feel bad that people don't know.
The other thing, too, people will say, well, I think it's just a concussion. I've heard that 1,000 times. Just the word "just" diminishes the impact of it.
Right.
And if someone has just a concussion, there's a high likelihood they'll just go home and never even seek treatment.
Yeah.
They won't end up in an emergency room because, like, well, it's just a concussion.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we actually are changing as well. It's like it's not just a concussion.
No.
It can be life changing.
Yeah.
And a couple weeks later, your sister's still having symptoms. She still doesn't feel right.
She's having a hard time working because everything just becomes so overwhelming. So just your normal day in, day out stuff, driving is overwhelming. When your brain is inflamed and you're driving, how fast everything moves by your peripheral, you don't realize it because we're used to it. When you have that concussion and that event happens, you're like,
Yeah.
You can't, your brain's not taking in all the information, so it feels chaotic.
The brain,
inside.
literally, that's the word.
Yeah.
That's what the word they use in here. The brain becomes chaotic.
Uh-huh.
And so it's about slowing everything down, recalibration, relearn, allow the brain to be in activity, but not too much activity. Because have you noticed in our culture and our society, maybe more so in the last 4 or 5 years, where people walk around and do life in what I call sympathetic overload. The sympathetic nervous system is at fight or flight, right?
Yep.
And you, without having a head injury, that's what's going on.
That is
sympathetic
always
overload,
what we're doing.
cortex, all of this constant go, 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 go. Now add a head injury to that, and now the brain even becomes more chaotic, right?
Yeah. And
so our process is literally retraining the brain to drop back into the parasympathetic space, the rest, the heal, and we do it in a way that allows that gentle push. And so it really works. I feel like, as we get this messaging out there, I'm so glad your sister, she used to work for us for a little bit, but
she did.
She knows what we do, and she can come get care. But we love this Concussion Pros model we've created because we actually send all of our practitioners to what's called the AIB, or the American Institute of Balance. So all of our practitioners are certified through the AIB.
Yeah.
It's the gold standard for vestibular injury that we found. And so we send everybody through that program. So again, cool stuff. We love what we do. And
that's it.
So I think that's it, folks. Have a great day. We appreciate you. And we're going to continue to make these podcasts. Next week, we're going to have Taylor on. She's one of our new marketing associates, and she is a former pro snowboarder. And she's going to talk to us about some of her injuries, her concussion. She's amazing. We love having her on our team.
Yes, we do.
And we're excited about all the things we're doing. We truly love you guys. We're excited to keep this thing moving forward. If you by chance catch our podcast and you'd like to come on as a guest, please reach out to us. The whole purpose of this podcast is I love talking about people's experiences when it comes to whether it's health. We talk about the brain a lot, but this, we talk about any sort of health experience where people have learned some things, have new insights, have new perspectives. I find that super interesting. And so if you've had anything like that, we'd love to have you on the show and talk about what you learned. So again, we love you. We appreciate you.